Did you wake up this morning feel like the weight of the world was on your shoulders? Did you wake up thinking that life just wasn't worth it? Did you have a moment where you thought about harming yourself or harming somebody else? Are you being bullied? Is someone not accepted of who you are, whether it be your sexual orientation, your race, gender, anything like that? Do you feel like you are by yourself? Well, let me give you a message. You are not. Whether you know it or not, you are never alone. And there are people out there who are more than willing to step into the fire with you and walk step for step with you on this journey. If you are suffering from any type of mental disability or any type of mental illness and you are thinking of harming yourself, please don't. The world will not be a better place without you. Please reach out and get help. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255. It doesn't take much to make that phone call. That's where your true power lies. And if for some strange reason you just don't feel comfortable enough to make that phone call, then feel free to reach out to me on any of my social media feeds, whether it be the YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, my Discord, or simply by email. I am more than willing to fight this fight with you. You are not alone. You do not have to go through this by yourself. You have already proven that you are a survivor. Let's continue that fight. What's going on, Pride Nation, and welcome back to another Field Review podcast show where we talk all things Detroit Lions, and I am here with a very special guest because sometimes you just need somebody to tell you what you don't know. Now, somebody's going to claim that they watch all 32 teams, and I do watch a lot of football, but to say I cold-heartedly focus on all 32 teams would be a flat-out lie. But I have a special guest today. I am talking about a fellow YouTuber himself and a subscriber who just loves good people and good content. I'm talking about Rams House. What up, though, Rams House?
What's going on, everyone? Glad to be here.
Listen, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good because it's Monday. It wasn't as bad as Mondays usually be for me, but I get to talk some football. Now, we had an original plan, but we gon' move that back. I think we got opportunity to still do it, and we'll address it, obviously. But we got a lot to cover today. First things first, we got to talk about the Lions receiving core perception. We got to talk about Jared Goff. Okay, we got to talk about Matthew Stafford and how he feels towards this fan base. We got to talk about Detroit Lions training camp and so many other things that it don't make sense. Now, let's see who's in the building here with us today. We got Tim Hutchinson in the building, Looney Tunes in the building. We got David Kumar in the building, Cap Ice Cold in the building, hard work and dedication in the mix. Fred Jackson is in the building. And if you are in the building with me, put a message in there so I can give you a shout out. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Hopefully y'all at work listening and I can give you some entertainment so you can hear about your team. Now, you may be wondering to yourself, Luke, why is Rams House here? You know, because the Rams House knows about the damn Rams. And who better to know about former Rams players than who? A Rams fanatic. Now, I want y'all to understand something. I have always been a believer that if you just listen, you can catch and learn a lot of things. And I believe that we're going to learn some things today. So I guess this is where we're going to open the show up at because it's going to get a little strange. This is a no hate zone, so keep the hate to a minimum. I'm giving you a 2 hate minimum today because I'm in a good mood and I usually hate Mondays. So 2 hate minimum. Now, first thing first, we got to talk about this. Matthew Stafford, during the interview, says he feels like he let down Detroit Lions fans. Wow. Okay. It says, I sit there and I go, man, I wish I could have got it done. I mean, it would have been amazing to have a Super Bowl parade down Woodward Avenue in Detroit. Didn't happen. Tough pill to swallow as a competitor and somebody who touches the ball on every single offensive play. You definitely look back and wish you'd done a few things different here and there. And in some games, that's maybe the changes that maybe could have changed the outcomes of the season, but I focus completely on moving forward now. All right, people. Rams house, man, what are your thoughts? I mean, do you feel like Stafford let down the fans?
I think it's fair to say that it was a two-way street on the letdown front. I think, Stafford wasn't perfect. There's more things he could have done, but obviously the Lions didn't give him the tools around him that he needed to be successful. So I think it's very fair to say that especially when you're talking about him as a competitor and his desire, he obviously very badly wanted to bring a championship to Detroit and failed in doing that. And at the end of the day, he's not going to blame the people around him. He's going to blame himself. But I think I think both the Lions and Stafford could have done more.
I believe that more than one thing can be true, right? Like it is what it is. And do I believe that he failed the fans? No, I just don't, because I've seen a toxic pattern that evolves around riding your best player to death, like not getting them no help. It's one of the reasons why people like Aaron Rodgers is going off and getting upset, because he feel like he doesn't have the supporting cast around him or the support of the team to put the cast around him. They just assume that he's going to make everybody better, and I think that is bothering him, and that's why you got A-Rod upset. When it came to Stafford, I felt that Stafford was one of those people who, basically found themselves in a position to do something great, but his role was always going to be more challenging than any other person's role. He was on the first 0-16 team. And so you're coming into a team that was so bad that they had to decimate that roster, and it took at least 3 seasons to do it. So no, I don't think that he failed the fans. I don't. I think that fans are impatient. I think that fans at sometimes are a little naive, and I think they take our good players for granted. Many fans wanted Wayne Fonts fired until we never seen the NFC North Championship again, right? Like now it's a bad thing. Many fans wanted Jim Caldwell, including myself, wanted Jim Caldwell fired, and then you don't win, and it's like, oh, we got Patricia. That's what we're doing now. So I don't know if I would say that he failed them, but I think that they both could have done some things different. Let me do a quick few shout outs. David Anderson, what up, though? Lions lead, Troy, Dr. Papa, Roney, Go Lions in the building, Lions lead, Bulgaria's, Blue Jay Sarge. Let me make sure I miss nobody. Let's see, Armac, Roar of the Lions UK. Shout out to my beautiful, beautiful family over in the UK who's talking all things Detroit Lions. Southwest Lions in the building. It says, I think it's wrong to say that Stafford let this city down. I think he put maximum effort into it, trying to get this city a championship with the Lions. He was on one of the worst franchises. I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. What do you say to that? I mean, when somebody tell you he's on the worst franchise and he had a dangerous uphill battle in the first place.
I don't think there's any debating that, right? But I'm not nobody's doubting Stafford's effort or anything like that. I'm just when I think of things like, what is it, 6-54 record against winning teams over 500, stuff like that. A lot of that, now it isn't solely reliant on the quarterback, but a lot of times overcoming the odds is something that a quarterback tends to be a leader of. And obviously for most of the years he was here, he didn't have a running game. For most of the years he was here, he didn't have a good defense. But the expectations that he set for himself and the kind of talent that Stafford has as far as arm talent, all that kind of stuff is pretty much off the charts. I think, and maybe even to an extent, being a little more assertive as the leader of the team with the front office on what they need to do. I mean, man, could he have done a little bit more complaining? I know we don't want a diva, but a guy who, or at least tried to be more communicative with the front office on what he wants and what he needs to help make the team successful. I'm not saying that he didn't put in the effort, but I'm saying I could see how he would internalize it as a competitor and say, I didn't accomplish my goal.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. What's up, Crimson Shadow? Shout out to you, Spencer Waddle. What up, though? Frederick, did he change his name? Fred changed his name. Okay, Fred, I see you out here trying to switch it up for the people. He says 12 years is impatient, but okay. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. The first 2 years, you're talking about him coming to a team that went 0-16. What did you expect him to do? I mean, seriously, what 0-16 with a first-year head coach? Got it. I mean, what did you expect him to do? And if you go through and you look at it, it took him 3 years to scrub the roster, and that was the year that he went for 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 16 interceptions. And then the year after that, you would have thought that they would have gave him some more weapons and done some things to kind of build around him, like this thing called an offensive line. But they didn't. So how do they reward his 5,000 yards? Have him throw the ball some more. In that year that he had the 5,000 yards, he threw the ball 663 times. 663 times. And then in the next year, 727 times. That's ridiculous. At some point, matter of fact, if the only time you can look at his attempts that were short is when he was injured. But I'm just trying to look at it from the standpoint of, you take those 3 years out, you got 9 more years of it. So now you got to say, okay, in 9 years, what happened? Well, you gave him Jim Caldwell and you changed course on that one. That kind of ticked him off. And then in between, you gave him Matt Patricia. So we could talk about 12 years, but I know 3 of them came under Matt Patricia. So that goes 6 years off right there. And now I got to look at it and say, okay, what did I get the best out of him at? And that was under Jim Caldwell. So I get it. I know how it can come off as, seeming a little picky, but it is what it is. Let me touch gears and hop on Jared Goff, because I wanna put Jared Goff into perspective. And the reason I'm saying it that way is because I think we are losing perspective on Jared Goff. There's a lot of talk and a lot of hype in training camp right now where he's having to explain why he's not throwing the ball so deep. And now the head coach has to explain why he's not throwing the balls deep in practice, and in the offensive coordinator as well. And I find it irritating, right? Training camp has been going on for how long now, Rams House? About a week?
Yeah, about a week.
About a week, okay. About a week. And in the most cases, they're learning new offense and new concepts and new schemes and new everything, and we're concerned about if he can throw the ball deep or not. How many years has Jared Goff been in the league, Rams House?
This would be a 6th year.
Okay, well, this is where you come in to back me on this ridiculousness. Can Jared Goff throw a deep ball?
Absolutely, he can.
Should Lions fans be concerned about the deep ball?
No, they should not be.
All right,
especially with
why.
weapons they have. Well, I'll give you a couple reasons. Number one, at any point in time during Jared Goff's career where he's had even a mediocre deep threat, and the term deep threat exists for a reason, because some guys are good at getting open deep. Some guys, that's not their specialty. It doesn't mean they can't. It doesn't mean they're incapable. It just means that's not their role in an offense. So in 2017, when Jared Goff had Sammy Watkins, who, by the way, was a massive bust for Buffalo when he got to the Rams, Jared had a above average year throwing the ball deep in 2017. In 2018, when they got rid of Brandon Cooks they got rid of Sammy Watkins and got Brandon Cooks, I would say Brandon Cooks is probably a great to elite deep threat. He was dominant. He was number 1 in the NFL in completion percentage on passes that traveled in the air over 20 yards. That's the definition of a deep ball. If it travels in the air over 20 yards, that is considered a deep ball. And Jared Goff was number 1 in the entire NFL in the completion percentage in 2018. And what do they, more importantly than having Brandon Cooks and a legitimate deep threat, what do they have? They had a complete offense. They had a running game. They had usable tight ends. They had some guys who ran short intermediate routes. They had guys who could kind of do everything, Robert Woods. And they had a speedster. They got a guy who could get open deep whenever he wanted to. And that is kind of what we're talking about. Now, we're going to talk about the Lions receiving core later, but that is an important factor to remember. The time that Jared had a very complete set of offensive weapons, not that they were all incredible, elite, dominant, but they had everything that they was required to make the machine work, right? He was number 1 in the NFL at the deep ball. And then in 2019, the deep ball was mediocre. It wasn't great, but Brandon Cooks had like literally 4 or 5 concussions. He was basically injured the entire season. And our O-line went from best to 31st in the NFL. And our running game went from Todd Gurley's a potential MVP to he averaged 3.7 yards a carry. So we literally went from dominant up front and running the ball to one of the worst in the NFL by a mile, and our only deep threat was disappeared. And then last year, they didn't have a deep threat, and they stopped attempting to throw deep altogether. But Jared, when the opportunity has been afforded to him, he has been an elite deep ball thrower. That's a fact.
Now, I find it ironic because I just go back and I love looking at history because history tends to give me an idea of what I need to see. But the history tells me that there was something that was happening under Sean McVay and Jared Goff, I'm going to say his introductory season, because we forgive him for that first one under Jeff Fisher. We may not do that to the old quarterback, but we definitely forgive Jared Goff for that first season, right? But just stay with me for a second and indulge me a little bit on some things, okay? First things first, I noticed quickly that the biggest change was that when you look at people like McVay, he looked at Jared Goff's college career and said, this is how I have to change the offense for him to succeed. And to me, that's where you start to say, okay, what's really going on here? So to show the people what I'm talking about is I need you to take a moment and cement this in your head, okay? And this is what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to just dive into this for a minute. I can't show too much because they will shut me down faster than a Jay-Z concert, because I think Jay-Z always get a few problems, but just stay with me. I want you to look at the first couple of plays and tell me how long does Jared Goff hold the ball? That's one. Two, I want you to tell me how far he's dropping back. Like, count the steps. Is he always 3 steps, 5 steps, 1 step, no step? I want to know what that is. And then the third thing, is it a deep ball and is it accurate? All right. So if you're not familiar, this is Just Bum's Productions. He does great jobs on highlights, and so I want to give him his props and all credit to him for this highlight video. But let's just take a look. This is Jared Goff in college. Did anybody happen to see the steps in terms of his that's another thing. He can't handle pressure. That's the other part, right? Rams house.
Oh yeah, that's the other storyline.
Yeah, he can't. Yeah, pressure is not a thing. All right. So here we are. That looked like a poised quarterback to me. I don't know what people consider a deep bomb, but that looked like a deep pass to me, and it's on the money.
Absolutely a deep ball, and it's beast.
This is college. Again, this is college, and I know somebody's going to say he's been out of college for 5 years. But if he was doing it here, he can do it in NFL, and I know he can, because this is exactly what they did to get him going in McVay's first year. Look at the drop back count. Everybody sees this, and that's dimes. Okay, this is why they're calling him the golden arm. Now, what I want y'all to do is take a second to let that sink in, because what I don't like is when people just tend to want to disagree, right? Rather than do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you his highlights. Yes, his highlights from the NFL, because you're going to see an interesting difference in what's going on. In fact, in the years where he started to get better at the Jeff Fisher, they were doing it the same way they did it for him in college. And then it also helped him get to a Super Bowl because he had a run game and so forth and so on. But, what can I say to get a person to understand this, right? I'm clearly off my rockers, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about any damn way. So
make one quick point while people
go ahead.
This. So one thing to take in consideration when we're comparing college to pro for Jared Goff is that in college, Jared Goff threw from the shotgun on 99.8% of his passes. In the last 2 seasons under Sean McVay, the Rams led the NFL in throwing from under center. So the thing that Jared did that got him to be the #1 pick in the NFL was the very thing that Sean McVay changed altogether. We became the least shotgun throwing team in all of football, which was what Jared Goff's strength was. That doesn't mean you can't run under center at all, but there's a difference.
Facts, and that's the reality. I just want y'all to see this. They play action at back to back. Look at this, back to back. Oh, this run you see right from 17, that's gonna be a my Ross St. Brown, but that's none of my business. I'm just giving you the heads Absolutely. Up now. Now, I can't show you too much because I don't want them to shut me down. But I want you to look at how he's throwing the ball, where he's delivering it, and who's his targets on this. Robert Woods got a lot of love on this drive. Again, he's under the center.
How many steps he's taking, even on screen passes. He's taking more steps on screen passes than he did on deep balls in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's two. Yeah, that's a lot.
Even after he finishes the play action, he's still taking 3 steps back.
So just want to move it on up a little bit. Let me get it up here. And again, dime. I just wish I could make this up. Now, I'm not trying to defend him, just giving y'all something to look at. Let's look at this right here. Ball not coming out quickly because he got him doing his drops and the routes are different. Now, like I said, we have something planned different to show you in detail, but this is what we can give. Now, this is the part that I want you to focus on the most because this is why I do perspective-based football talk. Now, we both know that Jared Goff has his flaws. So let's go ahead and put everything out that need to be out. First things first, he has flaws. He is not a perfect specimen. Second, we know that there are some things that you like that's definitely on him. And third, we know that, he's not going to carry the team, whatever it is you want to come up with. We know all the knowns. What we are trying to do is get you to see that this whole talk about a deep pass is ridiculous. This whole talk about turnovers. I believe, Rams House, you told me about this interesting thing where everybody said he had all these interceptions, and you said somebody else had the same number of interceptions as him, but then somebody's going to argue that he had more touchdowns.
I give you a slew of people. So everyone talks about the turnovers, and the reality is there was a turnover set that he had in 20 because really he had a comeback year in 2019 was his main down year. Now that year he had his offensive line was basically at the bottom of the NFL in both run blocking and pass blocking, 31st. And then he had 20. Where was it? His Jared Goff had 21 turnovers, which by the way was below guys like Baker Mayfield. There was 5 guys who had more turnovers than him in 2020 or 2019, and that was his down year. Last year, he only had 17 turnovers. When you say, okay, 17 is quite a bit, but you're tied with guys like Derek Carr. You're tied with guys like Russell Wilson had 17 turnovers. Kirk Cousins, who everyone is saying is better than Jared Goff, had 18 turnovers last year. Carson Wentz had 19 in only 12 games. You got guys like Kyler Murray and Josh Allen who had 16 turnovers. And then you got, Matt Ryan, 14, Tom Brady, he has either less, the same, or just a little bit more than guys who are being considered for MVPs. So the issue, you can't tell me the issue is turnovers in 2020 when guys like Russell Wilson and Josh Allen and other MVP, caliber players are either the same, more, or just one less. So I don't buy that narrative.
Yeah, I don't buy it neither. Like I had fans tell me I go get Tyrod Taylor. I had fans tell me I go get Fitzpatrick. Go trade for Nick Foles. You get Jared Goff, and it's like, oh God, end of the world as we know it. Like, come on, man.
Right.
Southwest Lion says Rams House Goff is partially responsible for a decline last 2 years, but how much is that on McVay? Now, I'm glad he asked you because my number is going to be 100% skewed, and it's going to be skewed because I believe this to be the truth.
So I will say that the blame is, I try to be realistic, right? So I always, when I'm approaching a situation like this with Jared Goff, this isn't just Jared Goff specific, but it applies to anyone or any team. The first thing I look at is, was the player put in a position to be successful, right? Okay, they had one of the absolute worst running games in football. They had one of the absolute worst O-lines in football, and the coach didn't make adjustments. Now, where we blame Sean McVay is that he's the one who made the decision to play Todd Gurley, even though he was sucking, instead of Darrell Henderson, who was really playing some good ball. He's the one who made the decision that his offense didn't require a good O-line to be successful. They let Stafford go. They refused to address any of the offensive line issues because we lost our center, we lost our left guard, and decided to just play rookies with no experience, out of position, okay? So these are Sean McVay's decisions. Then when it became apparent early on that our O-line was no longer number one in football, but it was actually one of the worst, he didn't make adjustments to that offense until week 11 of the NFL season in 2019. He didn't start to do quicker passes. He was literally rolling out these long drawn out, long developing pass plays that Jarrett, by the time, you guys got to realize, and if you watch the film and Luke and I watched a lot of it, oftentimes you'll see Jarrett and you'll go, wait, so he's only doing one read. Well, because the first read takes so long to develop, he oftentimes doesn't have time to look at a second read before he's hitting pressure.
Nope.
And that's not his fault. It's not that he's slow. What are they talking about in training camp? Oh, man, Goff's progressions are fast because the offense has fast progressions.
Right. It's the coaching that we keep ignoring and trying to act like it doesn't exist. And when you go through and you see that on film, when there were times where people were like, oh, look all these fumbles he's got. And I'm like, I'm telling you, I watched film where the running back is running and a guy is coming free. And instead of him chipping the dude, he just keeps running and the guy destroys Goff. Yep. Like just destroys it. I can't tell you how many times on film they're running empty back sets and that line ain't finna hold up. This is something that to make me mad that they used to do to Stafford. Like, bro,
the Dolphins game, remember? And that's all the Dolphins did was all game empty sets with blitzes coming.
And how do you stop that? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, okay, and it became more and more growing and terrible in that regard. Now, we do got some plan, me and him, to do a more elaborate video dive in once NFL stops tripping with our money. So, but you got to change the perspective. Now, I want to dig into something a little bit different right now because I put in some work and did some research and I'm irritated. I need y'all in the chat to help me on this one because this is something that revolves around you guys doing something important. But before I go there, let me answer this question. Buffed Up says Nathan Peterman can make them same passes. The point is, ask yourself the question, why is it that Nathan Peterman can make those same passes? Why is he handcuffed from making plays and giving this offense where you just going to play action when you have no run game? Nobody bites on play action when you don't have a threat of run. It's just the reality. Now, I did some research. I need y'all in the chat to work with me, okay? I need y'all to work with me on this one. First things first, stay with me. Can y'all explain to me why so many people, including yourself, if you believe this, why do you believe that the Lions have a really bad receiving core or a receiving core that is probably the worst in the league? Now, when you're answering this, I want you to answer it with one or two things. Is it because of the players we lost, or is it because of the production we lost? Okay, which one is it? It's got to be one of those two. I want to know from y'all point of view, why is it that y'all believe that the Lions have a really bad receiving core? Is it the production that we're losing, the players that we lost? Because I'm going to put this in perspective and hopefully put this to bed. All right. Now, I'm telling you now, I'm probably going to rant because I get annoyed when all you can do is click it. Okay. Now, Hungry Panda Studio says injuries. That's it. So he's worried about the injury side of it. Okay, cool. I'll take that. Anybody else? Why is it that this receiving core concerns you? We already know injuries are a given. We already know certain things. Like, I know how this goes in terms of this, but I want to know what's your viewpoint on this. So give me some answers in the chat on why it is that you think this is a terrible receiving core. Now, Looney Tunes says, I ain't even tripping. Okay. At Roar the Lions UK, bring me on the show. I'll go more in depth with change and stats on how that was affected. Oh, yeah. I'll definitely make sure I get y'all connected. They are on Twitter, and we talk, and so I'll make sure I get that set up. It says, Luke, I don't believe the Lions have a bad receiving core, unproven or less experienced, maybe, but bad, no. I think they are going to be a pleasant surprise. Okay. Let's see. It's because against most number one corners, Tyrell and Perriman,
Perriman, I think he's talking about.
Oh, okay. I'm like, who the hell is Perriman? All right, Tyrell and Perriman not going to have a good day. Okay.
I would say that we have evidence that's not true because Tyrell Williams was the number one receiver for the Chargers and put up over 1,000 yards. He basically mimicked identically the stats of Kenny Golladay.
Yep. But we're going to get into it. I want the perspective.
Okay.
R-Max says Golladay was unable to perform last season, basically. Okay. 5 games is what he played. Let's see. Detroit versus everybody. It says, let's get those lights up. Please do. It says, I don't hate the receiving core. I want to know why you think the media, whatever your view is, I'm hearing it. It said the receiver core isn't necessarily bad. It's just risky. It's more boom or bust compared to normal. They could be great or awful. Okay, I can follow that. The potential that we lost is what does it for me. That's from Jon Kapler. Okay. He said, left out live, Perriman. Bro, you threw me completely off of them. I'm like, who the hell is Perriman? Steve-O, you're from, let me see. We have seen them play. We have seen them play. How can you be concerned about what you have not seen? Got it. That's a good point. All right. Let me do my devil's advocate. I believe in doing things in perspective. That's the way I like to do it. That's the way I'm going to always do it. Perspective, people. Let me get this off the screen. All right. You're looking at a spreadsheet that I basically made because I got nothing but time to do it. And anytime I have time in between, I was working on something and trying to get it done. So stay with me on this for a second. This right here is a actual sheet that I went through, and I basically took the entire receiving core's production. That includes wide receivers, tight ends, fullbacks, running backs, all of them included, and I included them on a spreadsheet. So this little group that you see right here is what we had in 2020. Now, this is my projected receiving core. Now, I think Chad Henson makes the team. I think Khalif Raymond makes the team. And I think Geronimo Ellison makes the team because that gives you kick and punt returners. He gives you a solid receiver threat that's going to be able to give you somebody big in the red zone. These are your slots. And then obviously you got these two. So if you don't like my order, that's fine. I've ran this scenario a number of times. On this side right here, you will see that this is a total of 13 players, whereas on this side right here, this is a total of 16 players. Now, stay with me. The only way you can be frustrated or think that this team's receiving core is bad or suspect or any issues, because in one person's case, they said it was injuries. Well, anybody can get hurt, so we know it can't be that. That's not a fair assessment. Another person said that it's the people that they lost. Well, Kenny Golladay, as you can see, had 338 yards. Now, here's the part that blew my mind. I decided to take the production from this whole entire 2020 season with 16 players, all their numbers combined, and I compared it to our soon-to-be new team. Understand something. I understand that there are rookies in here. I understand that there are rookies in here who have not taken a snap. I also understand there are players in here who haven't played in over a year. I understand that there are some things that's going on. All I did was say production. Is there a difference in the production that we lost? Here's what I discovered, people. Do you see this beautiful number right here? I'm going to highlight that for y'all. You see that beautiful number right there? This is the total yards that they had as a complete receiving group in 2020. 4,397 yards. Now, even with my projected receiving core, and you can feel free to take somebody in or out, but I think this is going to be it. If you want to add another tight end to it, that's fine. That number then goes up, right? It only makes sense. If you want to take somebody out and add somebody else in, this number still goes up. But stay with me. The production side of 2020 compared to our now current roster, and yes, I included the production from a rookie's college season because I treated it as if though if you're taking that same production, it should work. And my only rule was if it was not something astronomical or crazy, I'm including it. So for the people who want to say that Amon-Ra St. Brown's number should be in there, it's only 478. That's all it is.
That's a very low estimate, by the way.
No, that's not even an estimate. These are actual numbers that I found to put on.
Right. But I'm saying, like, he's probably going to do more than that this year.
He's clearly going to do more than 478. Just stay with me. When we're talking about the loss of Kenny Galladay, who played 5 games, 338 yards, compared to Quintez Cephus, 349 yards, and he played less than 5 games. But that's another story. Stay with me, people. The production side of it on yards is literally 1 yard less. Now, I want y'all to take a second to sink this in, because I'm going to drive this home in a way that don't make no sense. I mean, just 100%. So stay with me. Stay with me. I decided I wanted to kind of see the whole picture. So I went and I said, let's see what the reception difference is, right? Because I want to see what it looks like in comparisons. And so clearly they got more receptions on our new receiving core than they did our old. And I said, well, damn, that's interesting. So I went over again and I wanted to see what the targets look like. And what do you know? There was more targets to our receiving core than it was in 2020 than it was in our receiving core now. But then I couldn't stop there, because now this is what I got to see, the catch percentage. So I took all the totals for the catch percentages of all the people on here, and I basically just looked at it, and I said, well, what do you know? Last year's team had an overall catch percentage of 65.3. The Lions of our new course has at least a 68 if you round up. And if I don't round up, it's a 67.34. Nonetheless, still better than them. And then I went on and I said, well, let's talk about touchdowns. And now here's where it gets intriguing. 16 players. People forget Danny Amendola had 602 yards, but not a single touchdown. People forget that. They forget that we had people on the roster who wasn't doing nothing. But let's go ahead and look right here. If you took the production from these players' last season play of any football, you get 34 total touchdowns compared to 2020's team 27. Why am I doing this? It's about perspective. Okay? This is about perspective. Now, it said Geronimo Ellison, he's slow. Right, but he's a kick and punt returner. So he's going to be on there 100%. They're going to be on there 100%. All right. It says, Luke, I love you, man, but do you be reaching sometimes? Hey, if it's a reach for you, I feel you. It could be a reach for you. But the reality is this. The only reason you can say that our receiving core is hot garbage is if either one, you care about the name, because you can't talk about the production. The production is in line with our previous team. And if the production is in line, you can argue with whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, but I want you to remember that 4,397, because that is actual numbers that is pulled from NFL.com to display every person who caught a pass in 2020 for the Detroit Lions. Hey, I'm not done.
Quick,
go ahead.
Why is it a reach though? What makes it a reach? Because when Tyrell put up those numbers for the Oakland Raiders, he only played 14 games. He only started 12 because he was hurt that year, and he was the number one receiver for that team. So he was getting number one receiver or number one corners guarding him. So it wasn't like he was a third receiver.
Right.
Perriman last year he might have been the best receiver that team had.
Listen, I know it's a reach to people who don't want to hear truth. This is to point out the fact that if you're going to argue that our receiving core sucks, then I'm going to put your truth to the test. And that's why I highlighted this number 4,397, because I compared that number to, I don't know, the 49ers. And these are the exact numbers from the 49ers 2020 season, right? 4,320. Why aren't they considered the worst team?
By the way, real quick, Perriman only played 12 games, and he was the second receiver for that team. And that's the best he's going to get on this team, his second receiver. He was right behind Jamison Crowder. So you're talking about the two guys that we're looking at basically missed 4 games apiece, and they still put up these numbers, and they were either number 1 or number 2 on their teams. It's not like people act like they're getting a bump up in their depth chart position. They're not. This is what they've been playing for the last several seasons.
And the only reason it's a reach to most people, is because I'm not Willie McGinnis, or I'm not Barry Sanders or I'm not Herman Moore or Lomas Brown saying it. But let one of them say it, and it'll be 1,000 messages to me about you heard what they said. But I'm telling you the truth. The only way you can look at this and tell me that you disagree with this is because you focus more about the name and less about the production. Let me continue. Because I'm trying to figure out how in the hell we got the worst. Okay. We have the worst receiving core. So this right here in the blue represents our numbers. This right here represents the 49ers, the team that everybody think is going to go to the Super Bowl. They lost their Kendrick Bourne, so he's gone. He's out of there. This is their projected group right here. And again, we still will have more yards than the projected group. You want to disagree with this group too? That's a reach. All right, I did an overview. Let's look at the overview. All of this is evolved around 2020. These are each of the teams that we play in 2021. 49ers in 2020. 371 receptions, 570 targets, 4,320 yards. Still not more than what our team did, and it's not more than our production from our current receiving core. Oh, catch percentage is lower, so it's touchdowns. Everybody's favorite team, the Ravens. Yeah, that team, 257 receptions, 406 targets, 2,919 yards. But we got the worst receiving core.
I mean, let's be honest, though. They've got a running back playing quarterback. So,
I mean, let's be honest. Let's talk about it. But if the person is basing their view of this being bad and it's all going to fall on the receiving core, then it boils down to either one or two things. You care more about the name than production. I'm only looking at production. I don't care about the name. Are we losing production? The numbers say we lost 1 yard. That's what the numbers say, right? If you want to take out rookie numbers, then I got to go through and take out all the rookie numbers for all the teams that we played and played against last year who had better numbers than us. If we're going to do that, right? Like, y'all don't understand how the game works, but I'm going to get us there. Let's go and look at the only team that was up there was the Packers. But again, we still had more yards than them. They had a better catch percentage, obviously, but most of that catch percentage came from one person, Devontae Adams. And most of that came from one person, Jeff Okudah. The 48 touchdowns, they're number one, right? Like, you can't get around it. But looking at these other receiving cores, why are some of these other ones with lower yards not worse than us? Some of these other ones, like the Broncos, 57.01 catch percentage. Oh, but they ain't got no quarterback, Luke. I know all this stuff. Who they got now? The Eagles, what they doing? Y'all love y'all some Jalen Hurts and those running back quarterbacks. But I'm trying to figure out, why is it that we have the worst receiving core? What is the perspective on it? This is what I understand.
So what I'm seeing in the chat is you're wrong, and I keep asking people why, and they get nothing, no answer. It's just wrong. Well,
yeah.
Why is it wrong?
So the question becomes, where did you get the 34 touchdowns from? This is from Steve-O. So let me show Steve-O where I got the 34 touchdowns from. I literally went over here. Let me go on down here. And I put in everyone's touchdowns for the season. Every single one. Marvin Jones had 9. Tyrell Williams had 6 the last time he played. The last time Kenny Galladay played, he had 2. Bashard Perriman had 3. Danny Amendola didn't have a single touchdown. Quintez Cephus had 2. Quintez Cephus obviously got 2 right here. Amar Ra had 7 when he left college. Marvin Hall had 2. Khalifa had none. Mohamed Sanu had a touchdown. Chad Henson had a touchdown. Jamal Agnew had none. Geronimo Ellison had 2. Hockenson had 6, which is represented on both teams. Jesse James had 2, but Darren Fells had 4. DeAndre Swift had 2. Hunter Bryant had none. Isaac Nada had none. Adrian Peterson had none. Kerryon had 1. Jonathan Williams had none. And Jason Cabana had none. Jamar Jefferson in college had no receiving touchdowns. This is how I get to 34. That's how I get to 34. I took all the touchdowns based on the last time they played production. simply on the most recent history that I have for them, because that's the only thing I can go off of, which is that same thing. Now, Benjamin Foe says you lost me at plugging in college numbers. Okay, so if you want me to take the college numbers out, right? Because this is why this is a fun thing to do. You want to take the college numbers out? Fine. We'll take out Jamar Jefferson. We'll take him out. Who else was college on here? You want to take Amar Raz out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take him out. Who else you want to take out? That's college. I'll wait. Do you want to tell me something wrong with this starting lineup or whatever? Cool. Tell me who you want me to put in there. We're going to do the research right now. Now, if we're taking out college, don't I got to take out Hunter Bryans too? Because that was his first year, right? Mm-hmm. So I got to take his out. Who else I got to take out? Do I got? I think that was his second year. Was that his second year last year?
It was his first year last year.
Well, let's take that out too. We taking out Cephus stuff too. We taking out college numbers. Well, no, Luke. Cephus actually played, Luke. Okay. I'm trying to get you home. All right. What else y'all want me to take out? Was Isaac not a first year last year too? I feel like it was. Take out his little 3. Who else you want me to take out? Because the only reason you want me to take that out because you think the numbers look better. Now, if you want to put Cephas numbers back, cool. But if you look at the top 3 receivers that we had, which was 1, 2, and 3, and you can erase all this out and give me the top 3 over here, our numbers are not that far off in production. So I'm willing to play the game with you. Just tell me what you want me to do. Tell me what you want me to do. The reality is this. We're talking about production. He says, no, I just don't want to see fake numbers. It's not a fake number. They literally right now are hyping up the Jacksonville Jaguars based on Trevor Lawrence's college numbers. He was first overall based on his college numbers.
I mean, but let's just have a real anyone in the chat. Does anyone believe Amon-Ra St. Brown won't put up 478 yards? Because I think most of us probably think he's going to break 478 yards. So that is a conservative estimate.
Right.
The rest of them are all from the NFL. Every single one of those is from the NFL.
Right. You can only eliminate 2 of our newest weapons.
And Jamar Jefferson is 67 yards. You guys want to fight about that? We could take that off altogether. Not a big deal.
I mean, I'm not even putting like astronomical numbers up there. I can see if I was like, yeah, I'm putting the production of Jamar Chase numbers in there, and he's got whatever. Jamar Chase got drafted before a lot of receivers, and he didn't even play the last season because they did it based on his numbers. But now we can't include that in production. The only reason you bring a player onto your team is so you can add to your production. So why is it now being eliminated? Why does it not have to be explained? I mean, if you just go through and just look it up, I mean, look at this. It says St. Brown put up 853 yards per reception. I didn't even include his career numbers. I just used his last year numbers, which, by the way, who was his quarterback at USC?
Nobody, and he only played 6 games, so it's not like he played. In fact, all of our guys, Perriman played 12, Tyrell played 12, Cephus played 12, Amon-Ra only played 6. So it actually gets worse, not better. That's
what I'm saying. And what I believe Shades is pointing out is had he played the full season of 11 games, because it wasn't like he was out because he was hurt, it's because of COVID. And had he played the full 11 games, that would have been the total he would have had. But they didn't play 11 games because they were trying to navigate through this damn pandemic. Right. But we don't want to put college numbers in there. Got it. Well, let's put real numbers in there, because we can put the real numbers in there, which I did, which is why I did this right here. I can take these same numbers out and put our 2020 team numbers in here, and somehow they're still better than the 49ers, the team that we supposed to get beat up and beat down by. They're still better than the Ravens. They're still better than the Cardinals. They're still better than the Broncos, the Browns. They're still better in terms of receiving yards. They're still better than the Eagles, the Bengals. Look at this.
If we want to take a more deep dive into it, then we get a little bit more analytical and you go to Tyrell Williams' page, right? You go to his Pro Football Reference page and you look at how many yards per target he's gotten over the course of his career, which you'll see over the last 4 seasons, it's been right at 9.9. His whole career, 9.9 yards per target. Do we think he's going to get 100 targets this year?
And he didn't even get that. He didn't even get that in college.
He only got 64 targets in his last year in Oakland. So we're talking about 650 yards in 64 targets. How many targets do you think legitimately Tyrell Williams will get this season?
Tyrell Williams, 64 targets compared to our number one target, 115. Kenny Galladay, 32 targets.
Do you know what happens if Tyrell Williams gets 115 targets? Mathematically, he gets 1,100 yards. That's how that works. He got 4 seasons, or he's got 5 seasons of putting up 10 yards a target.
But this is what blows my mind the most. Then I go out and say, well, if you don't like what you see, then bring back Golden Tate. Oh, he done. Which one is it? What are we doing? Because if your concerns with the receiving core is name based, then at that point I don't want to argue with you. You just care about the name, and I can care less about that. I care about production. But this idea that I'm making up numbers, I'm lost. Dominic Davis says, I'm confused to where people are saying the numbers are made up. These are the players' stats from last season. Facts. I didn't go and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna slot that number there to get my number. I'm gonna slot that number there to get my number. I went through and got their numbers from their last seasons. Period. That's all I did. I didn't do anything extra. I didn't go out my way to try to create anything.
Yeah, exactly. Which, if we went off of his historical figures like Tyrell Williams yards per target, Bashard Perriman's yards per target, Quin Cephus, and we actually divvied up the targets properly, then this would just get significantly worse because Tyrell has put up 10 yards per target literally every season of his career, basically. And you give him 100 targets and he's going to put up 1,000 yards.
I mean, like this right here. It says Perriman got butterfingers. Okay, that's fair. Right? I can't argue with this response from Tokyo. Perriman got butterfingers, right? Like,
what is that based on?
I'm basing it off his catch percentage.
The last time that he played with Antoine Manuel, he was second in the NFL for most targets without a drop in an entire season. He had 0 drops.
Yeah, but see, listen, I don't even want to give him that much. I want them to focus on just last year's production. If you want to tell me that his 50% catch rate is hot garbage.
No, it is hot garbage.
And I'm like, okay. But the reality still stands. The catch rates are still the same.
Right.
Like I'm not plucking numbers out and just saying, oh, these are the numbers. I'm showing you in real time the last season of what these people did.
By the way, that's one of the reasons why I think Perriman will not end up being a starter. I think Quin Cephus will beat him for that job. And it'll be Tyrell Williams, Quin Cephus, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Listen, and if that's the case, I ain't mad at it because if I take those 3 productions, I'm still killing them. Mm-hmm. I'm still killing them. So I don't care about the name. Did I lose production? 16 players compared to 13. 1 yard off. I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. Why is this hard for people? Why is this such a challenge? I'm the blind one. I've been called many things, but I'm confused here. This show is great. Awesome work. Go Lions. We eat lambs, though. Just joking, Roundhouse. All respect. It says, who y'all think would be better? Goff with last year's wide receivers or Stafford with this current squad? I honestly think if you gave the coaching that we're predicting to come with this squad, I think Stafford could have been better. If you're talking about us being a pass first team still, we're not going to be a pass first team. So you're going to be a more run balanced team. If that's the case, then I don't see why Goff couldn't excel at this because he's got to turn around and hand the ball off. Names got nothing to do with it. Perriman can't catch and Williams can't stay healthy. Okay. Well, we got quite a few people on this roster who can't stay healthy. I mean, I'm just saying. It is what it is. So just putting it out there. Let me see what else we got up in the chat. I don't want to miss nobody's comment. I'm trying to make sure I cover this, but I'm also trying to make sure we get this together. Let me see. It says Don Bird's that the case. Let me see. Hold on. Galladay was so one-dimensional. He was, but I'm not gonna knock his hustle, but he was one-dimensional.
You know who's not one-dimensional? Tyrell Williams, who's played in the slot. He's played on the outside. He goes deep. He can run short intermediate routes.
And we're talking injuries, but when most people sat out, they sat out not because of injury, but they sat out because of a pandemic.
Right.
You know, like, I don't get it. It says, let's be honest. It's all assumptions. We all fans dig it early, and we should all agree to disagree. That's it. I don't have a problem with the agree to disagree. You know what I'm saying? And C. Perry says it's hard to make a point typing. It is. Kenny Galladay gets $18 million for 300 yards receiving. New York Giants are stupid. Listen, I can only show you what the truth is. Right? I can only show you what the truth is.
Well, Benjamin says that Amon-Ra is getting 0 yards next year. So that shows
who getting 0 yards this year?
Well, he's unhappy with you using college yards. So I said, okay, so give a prediction on how many yards Amon-Ra could get. And he said 0. So that shows you where we're at. Of course, he could get hurt in training camp, but guess what happens if Amon-Ra gets hurt? There's another player. It's not like we're gonna go out there with 10 players on offense. That's not how it works.
And you gotta understand, they're not just relying on one player no more.
That's why
they're not doing that no more.
Complete. They have short intermediate guys. They have guys who go to down the middle. They got guys who go deep. They got a whole set of different talent types so they could fill all the needs.
Roderick Burrell comes through and says before Williams was out last year, he played 62 out of 64 games.
That is true.
Listen, I'm just here so I don't get fined. I go through, I do the work, I make it easy for people to see, and they dispute if it's true.
You know, it's Tyrell Williams is hurt just like Julio Jones is hurt, even though Julio's only missed a handful of games over the course of time.
They like he can get hurt day one, right? Like he can get hurt. Day one. Anybody can get hurt. Jared Goff can get hurt. Swift can get hurt. I can get hurt. You can get hurt. Hell, anyone can get hurt day one.
And see, Roar the Lions has a great point, which you've made multiple times. The Lions' previous coaching staff and players have said the game plan with Calvin Johnson was on the team was get the ball to Calvin Johnson. That's not the case anymore. By the way, that doesn't work to Jared Goff's strengths. Jared Goff's strength is finding the open receiver and spreading the ball around. People trying to say, you know, how does Goff get all these stats? Because he throws to whoever gets open.
And that's the thing. I know people want to dispute me on this, and I love that you're trying to dispute me on it. But I'm only doing it based on production. In other words, I'm not doing anything else but looking at production. And I'm telling you that this right here is real-time information that I took. I went through, these are all the teams we play. I didn't leave anybody off. We played the Packers twice, Bears twice, Vikings twice. This is what they did the previous year, right? We know that this is 1 yard off. So this right here is on the current receiving corps projected production from the last season that they played. And we know that given the fact that our 2020 team was 1 yard up at 4,397, they still had more yards than the 49. I think only 2 teams had more yards than them, now that I think about it, which was the Falcons. I think that might be it. Now that I think about it, shit, look, it's just there. The only team that had more yards that we played this year was the Falcons. That's it. Y'all say, well, how can you see so many wins? Broncos, 57% completion or receiving. You want to tell me all of a sudden now they got the quarterback to handle this? Teddy Bridgewater can handle that thing? I got it. Eagles, 55.95. Really? You buying into Sirianni? You really? We doing this for real? We really doing this? Like, this is not me making it up. This is not me going out and just saying, look, this is just some stuff. I pulled the numbers and put them all together so you can see them as one. Feel free to dispute them if you want to. You talk about touchdowns, Packers 48, Seahawks 40. And if you take the production from the last season, it's 34 for us. But if you move it down to 27, then we'll be right in the pack with the Browns, right in the pack with the Ravens. Just one above the Bears. Let's be honest, people. It's a new receiving core. And before you go there, I already went through and looked at all of the other projected receiving cores and said, okay, let me do their production. I just didn't feel like wasting the energy showing it because I knew what was going to happen. You know, that's why Calvin left too. You cannot rely on any one player. So let me see. What am I missing? Let me make sure I ain't missing nobody. Make sure I ain't missing nobody. I just want y'all to see it for yourself that this team and all this talk about our receiving core, well, if it's so damn bad, then the current receiving core is bad too. The last year receiving core had to be bad too because they had the same production. Well, Kenny didn't play all his games. A lot of people didn't play all their games. You don't want to take it out for them. You just want to make it. You want to use it when it's a convenient excuse.
Right? One-way exception. Kenny didn't play all his games. Either it's Tyrell Williams or Perriman or Cephus or anyone, but the one-way direction.
It says KG got hurt. Let's plug in fake numbers for him. If KG played the previous season and I use his previous production, no matter what he did, how was that fake numbers? I got people on here like Kenny Galladay who got hurt last year and played 5 games. His numbers on there. Are they fake? I'm trying to figure this out. Are they fake?
Swift didn't start. He didn't get nearly as many carries or touches or snaps as he's going to get this year.
And that's the thing I look at. Matthew Ferguson and Detroit Fan Man says, you know, when you can put a number to coaching, attitude, and culture, let me know. And everything is going to be different. But I don't want to. I wanted to take their actual last production. It says if you don't like the wide receiver targets, you have Swift, TJ Fells, and Williams, 2 running backs, 2 tight ends. Oh, let's talk about that production. Because you know we can't get high off of that. We might as well forget Penny Sewell. Don't nobody get excited about Penny Sewell.
Can I tell you a team that won a Super Bowl whose main targets were tight ends and running backs?
The Kansas City Chiefs.
The Chiefs, but the freaking Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh, yeah, there was another one. I forgot about that. The underdog squad. Yeah. I mean, we went from Jesse James 129 to 312 and Darren Fells is going to get more catches and more opportunities. I didn't even put a third tight end here because I said that would just be me inflating the number. So with less players compared to this list over here, it's still 1 yard off. Say what you want. Not me making up numbers, not me trying to generate fake stuff or fake news. This is the actual numbers. This right here represents yards. This right here represents receptions.
Quin to Cephus is trash. It says 100 Panda Studios. So Cephus is trash. Bro, Cephus put up 10 yards per target.
I'm just trying to figure it out.
Cephus had a quarterback rating when targeted of 110.3.
How much?
Both of those numbers are higher than Kenny Galladay.
They are. But Kenny Galladay only played 5 games, but they're gonna argue. But I can't. You know, Hungry Panda Studio says how much we going to blame Patricia for not playing guys when Holmes comes in and cuts and doesn't bring back 12 of their offensive players. I'm gonna blame him for a lot because he didn't utilize his weapons right. Those numbers should have been higher with that receiving core, especially with that run game, and it wasn't.
That number is also deceptive because there's always this actually a pretty low amount of turnover for the offense because in the starting lineup you have 4 of the same offensive linemen. You've got TJ Hawkinson and DeAndre Swift coming back to play, and Cephus. That's 7 of your potential starters who are going to be the same players.
Yeah,
it's not nearly as big of a turnover as it's being made to seem.
Here's another good point from Lucky, who says the Rams never gave Goff a star receiver, so he made those guys look a lot better.
Let's talk about it. What did Robert Woods do before he was an LA Ram?
We always want to give praise to people we love their names because they did our fantasy teams good. Aaron Rodgers made so many people better. Okay. You know what? Let me see if I can show you one more thing. Let me see if I can find it because I know I can find it. And I'm going to go for it.
While you're doing that, Robert Woods' career high in receiving yards before Jared Goff was 699. After Jared Goff, it was 12-19. And by the way, that was 699 yards on 104 targets. With Jared Goff, he put up 1,219, almost double, with 130 targets. Only 26 more targets, almost double the yards.
Like I said, I can't make this stuff up. People like to say they like to say I'm crazy. They like to say I'm Stretch Armstrong. But let's talk about it. It says, why people mad that this was the stats that was last year. 11 production is production. Thank you. Like, I don't know why you mad at me, but production is production. Losing Galladay didn't hurt the Lions because Galladay relied on big catches and deep balls. This is what production shows. But I can't, I can't explain that to nobody.
See Matthew Ferguson's point?
Huh?
See Matthew Ferguson?
Let's see. It says Cooper Kupp was from Eastern Washington, but I'm sure he was a huge star before he came to the Rams. We don't ever want to give props. The moment somebody jumps on our team, they're garbage.
I was there, guys. I was there. When we drafted Cooper Kupp, the entire NFL world said, what an incredible reach. I can't believe they took Cooper Kupp in the third round. People were going ballistic over it. The Rams fans were going nuts. What a reach. What a dumb pick. So now that he's successful, we're going to act like, oh, yeah, he was always good. Okay.
This is the reality. Goff made those players good, or Home is good at scouting. Can't be both. Okay.
It absolutely can be both. That's the problem. Football, like all things in life, isn't a thing where absolutes are true. Most of the time, both things are true. You know the saying how when there's an issue in a couple and they say there's two people involved, there's two people at fault because everyone is a part of the problem. That's always true. There's never an absolute in these things, especially in football. Yes, Holmes is good at scouting, but do we think Cooper Kupp would have been the best yards, the best yard after catch wide receiver in the NFL playing for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, look, I like this one right here. Charles Davis says, people love names. I love the name Rumpelstiltskin. Steve-O says, that's 34 touchdowns from 2020 isn't the real number. You added player stats that aren't on the roster anymore to that number.
I think people aren't understanding what you've done here.
Wait, who did I add?
You didn't. He's confused because, Steve-O, what he did was he took all the people that are on the Lions today and he added up their stats from the last season they played football, and it added up to 34 touchdowns. He wasn't saying the Lions got 34 touchdowns last year.
And it's not a single person on this side of the list that is not on the team anymore. Who's not on the team? Which one of these guys is not on the team anymore?
I think they're confused about the team stats because you're comparing the current Lions stats to the
2020.
Yes, and it's confusing people. I get that.
I didn't make this up. It's literally showing you each person's touchdown totals for the last season that they played. Right here. Regardless if it was 2020, 2019, 2018. These were their touchdown totals for the last season that they played.
I'll be right back, Luke.
Now, the Lions, to show you why I'm not making this up, the Lions are right here. Okay? Why did I grab that? The Lions are right here. And you see right now that's 27 touchdowns right there. That's 27 touchdowns. I can show you where I'm getting this stuff from. I'm not using anything new other than the production that they already had. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll show you exactly what I did. Let me go right here. Let me see. Put this right here.
Sorry, I'm back. Fam got home from their birthday party and all the doors were locked.
Oh, I've had that moment. All right. Now, before somebody say, Luke, you can't do that. Here, I'm going to put it back. I did not add any player who was not on the team anymore. I literally took the information that was out there. This is from, let me make it big. I don't want nobody say I'm cheating. This is on ESPN. I use ESPN and I use NFL.com to cross-reference my information. This is from 2020. Okay. And if you go right here, it show all the passing stats, right? And how they got to 4,397. And it's 3 different quarterbacks, right? So they gave you all those stats. It shows you all the rushing stats and everybody who contribute to the rush attack and how we got to the 1,499. And you get to receiving, and it shows you all of their stats. And it starts off with the yards to show that, look, this is how the yards panned out. And then I went over here and I took the touchdowns. And I did this. And I plugged them in on the spreadsheet so you can see them side by side on what people did. This production is exactly the same production as it always been. All I did was then turned around and went to what is it called? The team, the players that we have on the roster that I know for a fact are going to make the roster, at least for the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And I know Khalif is going to make the roster, and I got Geronimo Ellison getting a spot just because I think they're going to need another kick and punt returner, and I don't think they want to use Amar Ra on that. So I took that. Geronimo Ellison had 2 touchdowns in 2019, I want to say it was. I think it was, or something like that. But anyway, his last season, he had 2 touchdowns. Chad Hansen had 1 touchdown his last season. Khalif Raymond had none. Darren Fells had 4. And then these all the same people. Every player on here is still on the team. I didn't even give the same 16 players. I just gave who I thought was going to make the final 53-man roster. I think all 3 running backs make it. I think these two tight ends make it. You can take any one of these receivers off. If you think Victor Bolton is taking Geronimo Ellison's spot, fine. I'll go in and adjust the numbers and put in Victor Bolton, which I already did. If you think that Surratt is going to make the team or McKinley is going to make the team, we can adjust the numbers there. But nothing about these numbers are fake. I didn't make this up. Let me see. Allison not good. He don't have to be. He's a kick and punt returner. I don't know what you want from him. That's all they want from him. People always have an opinion, though. You either listen to it or not. It's your choice. I mean, I don't know why this is hard for people to grab onto. I knew this was going to be a little bit of a challenge, but it is what it is. It says, I'm on board finally with Goff. Thanks to former Bear Alex Brown, NBC Sports Chicago. Luke, they don't want to hear you. That's fine. Goff fumbled 7 times from 23 sacks. Our O-line really going to give up 19 less sacks because Big V and Sewell are starters, going to have like 13 fumbles. Well, here's the problem. When a quarterback is fumbling, unless you tell me he just dropped the ball, that's not on him. That's on other people.
And we watched the film on his fumbles, Luke, and he was getting hit before he even finished his drop.
Man, he wasn't even done with the drop getting destroyed. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find one. I might be able to cue it up.
And while you're doing that, let me give you a little bit of knowledge. Sacks isn't the only thing that matters, right? Just to compare for the sake of understanding this a little bit closer, just because Jared Goff took less sacks doesn't mean that he was being attacked more than Matthew Stafford was. And to show you that comparison, last year, Matt Stafford, 16 games played, was hit how many times? He was hit 39 times. Jared Goff last year in 15 games was hit 54 times. That's 15 times more hit with 1 less game. So, yes, Goff was hit a lot last year. He was getting absolutely wrecked. So it's not an even comparison to say sacks versus sacks when Goff was getting destroyed all game long. In fact, instead of going against Goff for that, we should be giving Goff a thumbs up for taking less sacks than he did, considering how many times he got hit.
Well, let's talk about it, right? I wish I could make this stuff up, but I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. All right. I'm trying not to get put off of YouTube, y'all. So y'all got to work with me on this. Please work with me. All right. So let's look at the first play. This is probably one of the worst games that he had in 2020 against the Dolphins.
The worst game of his career.
Who fault is this?
He's not even finished his drop back yet. He's already about to get hit by 2 unblocked.
Who fault is this? I mean, look at this. Oh, he can't handle pressure is what they're going to say. Look, he already had a free runner.
That's an assassination attempt.
Bro, come on, man. Come on, bro. Come on. He already had the free runner, bro. What you want him to do? What you want him to do? He can't throw it away. He got to throw it towards somebody that can't get it. Let's look at this. This right here is another play we talked about. They knew exactly what was coming. Empty back sack. All I got to do is pass rush. He ain't running no damn where. And it's got to be a quick pass.
Look at that defensive end. He's not even trying to rush. He's
trying to get he's literally right here.
Because he knows where the ball's going.
Let me try to see if I can make it bigger. Sometimes we got to do okay. Yeah. Let me see if I can make it bigger. He's literally right here. He didn't even try to rush. He's just there. He's just there. He knows what's coming. He knows what's coming. Okay? Let's look at this. Now that's just on Goff.
Yep. Bad pass.
That's just on Goff. That time he had protection. Ball got away from him on this one. That's just on Goff. There is no ifs, ands, and buts about it because to me, this is the guy that's open right here. Him, he would have got caught. This is the guy that's open. And I talked to Rams about it. I said, yeah, this right here, he got to see this guy open down here. But this is what y'all want to see, the deep pass. So that's what he's being told to do. And he should have just went and threw it underneath. But again, we're just looking at it from that standpoint to say, okay, did he have another option? Yes, he did. Now, that one went way too fast. Okay, this ain't the best film, but okay, let's see. All right, so right there, here go another one.
Two guys.
Here go another one. This should not be happening. Look at this. Empty backs. 1, 2. Already in his freaking face is a quick pass.
You see the defensive tackles dropping into the passing zone because they know it's coming as well.
Right. They not even, bro. Come on, man. Y'all listen. Y'all see it. Stop playing with me. I'll give you one more.
We need the fumbles. The fumbles coming up too. That one.
Let's see if they show the fumble.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. It's a big play.
Is it this one?
That's an interception.
This the interception one?
Yeah. Unblocked defender up top.
All right. Right here. Unscathed, empty back sack. What the hell are you supposed to do?
Now watch. No, that guy in the middle dropping back, he's a defensive tackle.
Yeah,
he knew where this play was going.
Yep. He knew it.
How often do you see a defensive tackle drop into coverage unless it's planned that way?
And taking a step back. How far does he drop back? He already in shotgun. Look where the hell he at, people. Let's focus on this. How far he dropped back? Let's go. How far he got to drop back? That's far?
On a slant. That's 4 steps on a slant.
Come on, man. Come on.
Trust me, Jared Goff isn't doing this out of choice. This is how the play's drawn up. It's supposed to be a 5-step drop, but he threw it early because there was a guy in his face that was unblocked.
This is my favorite play because we talk about fumbles, right? I want y'all to look at Henderson. Don't lose him. Look at Henderson. Put your attention on Henderson. How do you not chip this dude? There go Henderson. You know Henderson sees this dude. He has to see him. He got to run past him. Look at Henderson. That's on Jared Goff. That's his fault. Come on now. Come on now, y'all. Come on. That's his fault. That's on him.
To Jon Kapler's point, the Rams' O-line probably got worse, so he may get hit more than 54 times next year.
I'm just asking. Somebody explain to me how you run it by and don't chip this dude. And then y'all wonder why I go nuts on film studies about the little things. He has no protection. You still going out for a route. It's a trip.
But what have we seen on all these plays, Luke? We've seen empty backfields, and every play has had 1 to 2 unblocked pass rushers. Every play.
Listen, if he chips this dude right here,
that's a touchdown.
If he chips him, look all this shit right here in the green. Okay, I'm not gonna get upset. I'm not ranting. This ain't the day.
But play it a little bit longer. If he gets chipped, I think number 11 is wide open for a touchdown.
Bro, look at this. Look,
Cooper's already lining up to block that. You see Cooper Kupp getting ready to block that?
Bruh. That's on him? Y'all want to tell me about fumbles? Come on, stop playing with me. Come on now. Stop playing with me. Give me something I can't disprove real quick. Give me something I can't prove real quick. Y'all want to put that off on him? I'm giving you the information. It's like that old saying, you can take the horse to the water. You can't make him drink. I'm giving it to you. It says that looks like Flores called a good defense against the Rams offense. Of course he called a good defense. He called the right defense. They're empty back sacks.
Because everyone knows what McVay's doing now.
And that's the problem. McVay was one of the things that I can even go to games, the game where they got bailed out to get to the Super Bowl. I was like, oh, okay. McVay did some things in that game where they should have lost. And that's why the game was close in the first place. I'm like, bro, why are you doing this? But we don't want to talk about McVay. If McVay was a lion, we'd be real critical of his coaching staff.
His coaching staff. I mean, he's basically turning into Matt Patricia 2.0. Every coach that he hired this year was a buddy. All the coaches on the staff now are buddies. He got rid of anyone who wasn't one of his friends.
I'm just saying. It says, real question though. Ellison, kick returner, punt returner over Raymond. I think they split it. That's why. I think they split it. I think you get one of them as a kick returner, one as a punt returner, and then obviously you got your slot receivers on reserve if you need them. But I don't think the Rams even like using Cooper Kupp as a punt returner, and they had to do it a few times, and they was like not happy about it. So, no. But I just want to point this out. It says that's how 6 blitz in the D line backs into coverage. All defenses are doing that now against empty sets. Stafford killed the Giants with that play.
Can I make a point about that real quick? Here's the great point about that, right? And me and Luke looked into this statistically. When this game happened between the Lions and the Dolphins and the Rams, the Dolphins were the worst run defense team in the NFL. They had given up 5 yards a carry up to this point for the whole season. Not just one game, not just 2 games, 5 yards a carry for the whole season. And what did we say the disparity was? It was 61 passes to
61 passes.
31 runs.
He passed the damn ball 61 damn times in that game.
Against the worst rush defense team.
I mean, are you serious? I think what he have 23 rushes?
It was 61 to 29.
Stop playing with me, y'all. Come on. Stop playing with me. I can go and show y'all doing their Super Bowl run where they was down like 14 points and still was running the ball. You just can't do it.
Even earlier in the season against the Bills, we were down I think we were down 24 or 28. We kept running the ball. We came back and we should have won that game.
And I'm not even trying to defend nobody. I'm just saying let's put football in perspective. Let's change the way we view things and say, look, if you look at production, we ain't lost much production. We haven't. If you don't want me to use the college stats of people who are still on this team and clearly going to play this year, okay. But I can kind of give you some stats that I don't think you want to really hear. I don't know if you want to. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think you really want to hear some of these stats. Because if you did, you'd be shocked. Just think about it. Quin Cephus? Put it this way. Let's go through each one of the Lions draft class. Right? And let's see where all the receivers came in at. Now, in 2020, Quin Cephus is a rookie. A rookie, he got 349. I only put 478 in there. Still not buying it. Travis Fulgham, 2019. 2019, Travis Fulgham was a receiver that they took. Him and where's the other dude at? Oh, that was TJ Hockenson draft. Okay, so let's go there. 2019, that man got targeted 3 times, no catches. 2020, they gave that man 38 receptions. He got 539 out of 67 targets on the Eagles. Giving them a shot, just on the Eagles. I put 478 there. We tripping, right? We tripping. Let's keep going. Let's talk about, let me see. When no receivers took in here, I want to go and find the receivers. Kenny Galladay. Let's go and look at Kenny Galladay. You know, because my numbers is faked and they made up and, you know. I don't know what the hell do I know. He comes in 2017, plays 5 games. Sorry, he played 11 games, started 5. Targeted 48 times, caught 28 passes, 477 yards and 3 touchdowns. But my 478 is too outrageous for Amon-Ra St. Brown in an offense that's going to be able to run and designed for people like him to excel. Y'all didn't see the run from Robert Woods, but okay. I'm just gonna keep going because this is the reality that I got to deal with. I understand me. Let's go down the list again. It's 2016. We getting receivers in 2016? Nope. 2015, any receivers? Nope. 2014, we got a 6th-round receiver in TJ Jones. The 3rd-round receiver got a lot of opportunities, but that's a different story. All right, TJ Jones took it in 2015. 18 targets, 10 catches, 132 yards. People, 478 is not a push.
Can I throw a name in the hat?
Go throw another one.
Cooper Kupp. 869 yards, and he only started 6 games.
I mean,
3rd-round pick. He was said to be a reach when he was taken.
How can I even make this stuff up? What round was Cooper Kupp taken in? 2nd, 3rd?
3rd round, and they said he was a reach. Yeah.
Okay. All right. What about Robert Woods? Remember Robert Woods?
Robert Woods was a 2nd-rounder, but he had 3 or 4 failing seasons in Buffalo, where he was basically a bust.
All right, and we know he was a bust in Buffalo, right? He played and started in 14 games his rookie year, 85 targets, 40 receptions, 587 yards, and 3 touchdowns. But my
look at that catch rate. Look at that catch rate.
Oh, that catch rate is 47.1.
47.1.
Man,
that is
listen,
terrible.
But my 478 is okay. All I'm trying to point out to you good people is this. Okay? All I'm trying to point out to you good people is this. You can disagree with me. You can argue with me. I'm simply arguing production. Did the Lions really lose production, losing Danny Amendola, losing Kenny Galladay, losing Marvin Jones Jr.? Well, history has shown us that that's not the case. We haven't lost production. And if I were to even take the averages of most rookie receivers who were starters with X amount of snaps, I think you will find that my 478 that I gave for Amon-Ra St. Brown is probably in line. Just saying.
I mean, I think Amon-Ra will probably end up in this 600 to 700 range at least. I don't, unless he gets hurt. I think he's just going to be such a big part of the offense. He's earning himself a lot of targets. When you get a lot of targets, unless you're just trash, you're going to put up numbers. I think it's as simple as that.
Die Hard Dan's podcast. Shout out to them gentlemen over here. Welcome to the show. Spencer Waddle says Stafford had his bad games too, such as Carolina, where he was shut down. Okay. That wide receiver was more worried about getting a stat than the number in a catch. Can't even chip a damn person. Shout out to Single Dads Club. Say, damn, that film almost looked like a setup to make Goff look bad.
We talked about that too.
And you know what's funny? That's exactly what you told me. You said it almost looked like he tried to make Goff look bad in this game. He gave him no protection, and I was like, man, that's terrible. If that's
and
what
you know
happened.
what came out afterwards? Goff basically all game was petitioning Sean McVay to change the offense because it wasn't working. And Sean said, no, the offensive game plan's perfect. You just can't run it.
Listen, it says
you saw it. Was that a perfect offensive game plan?
I just, it's no way, bro. It's no, you never made no adjustments. Luke gonna have y'all looking at the game cross-eyed. Okay. Shout out to SpeakEZ Sports. He in the building. Luke G, thank you for ignoring me. Did you mention your big announcement? No, I did not. I'm gonna make a video for it. Let's see. I think Goff could have a better season than Stafford. It's possible. Matthew Ferguson says 478 is a low number. If Cephus is on the field, he got 440. I mean, he got 349 in the minimum role. Mm-hmm. I mean, seriously. Goff first 5 years is better than Stafford's. SpeakEZ. What's dinner? Fried air sandwiches. What? What are you talking about? A fried air sandwich? Rams House, you remember when you told me on Discord about the throws that only Goff can make?
Well, not only Goff, but only a small handful of. Yeah, I mean, we looked at some of those, Luke, in Minnesota. Some of those.
Oh yeah, that Minnesota game was crazy.
I even have the most ardent Goff haters admit to me that he makes some throws sometimes that there's only 3 or 4 other guys in the NFL that can make them, because it takes a certain amount of touch and timing that he's gotten down pat with some of those guys.
It says Lions King says, I said here 4 wins now after Brown NBC Sports Chicago 10 wins playoffs.
I really want to see that video. I got to figure out what the heck this guy's watching.
Right. What is he talking about? What happened, Lion King?
I need a link to this.
What happened? NBC what?
NBC Sports Chicago. Some guy named Brown apparently was talking up the Lions and Goff.
Oh, Alex Brown, right? It's got to be Alex Brown, right?
I think so, yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Hey, that's totally fair, Don. I think that's Don said, I think the chat room will either want to draft a QB next year or keep Goff. Yeah, of course. We're either going to see Goff perform or we're not. If he doesn't, then go for a new quarterback. It's that simple.
Well, we're going to find out today. Let me see if I can find this article. Let's see. Oh, Lions signed Alex Brown. Dan Campbell would lose earn for Super Bowl. Lions. No, that can't be it. Let me see. I can't find it. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Oh wait.
NBC Sports. Chicago, he said.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't find it. If I could, I would. Yeah. Says Luke is going to eat the lettuce and ketchup burger for dinner. I don't know nothing about no ketchup, bro. What you talking about? What ketchup? Where they keep coming with this ketchup talk? I keep trying to tell them, man, this is team mustard. Where the relish at? Put the pickles up in this mug. You feel me? Some onions. You heard me? Ketchup. Don't do no ketchup around here. Let me see. I think this chat room would either want to do that. That's right there. Luke, are you a nice person? If I'm not, you're going to find out. I'll tell you what. Alex Brown NFL Sports. That's the name. Alex Brown NFL Sports. So let's see if I can find it. Alex Brown.
He's talking about Goff, right? So
yeah, let's see if I can find it. I still ain't finding it.
I'll see if I can find it too. I'll send it to you.
I'm looking. I ain't seen nothing recent. Is this an old video, a new video? Because I missed it. Whatever it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's an old video or new one. Let me see what's going on right here. Luke, are you a mean person in real life? No. Nope. In fact, I'm really freaking goofy. I laugh at just about anything. I mean, I had a friend who got into an argument with his girlfriend and she pushed him down the stairs. And honestly, I laughed at him hysterically. I'm like, bro, she tried to do you like the lady off of Misery. What the hell is going on? Like, if you don't break up with her, she's toxic, you know. But I'm a goofy person. It says as much as I dislike Goff offense right now, I think the Stafford trade was the right choice, and Goff is a starting quarterback in the NFL. That's a good way to have a perspective. How Hunter Bryant looking in training camp? I haven't heard anything about Hunter Bryant. I don't even think he's on the team.
Oh yeah, I found the video. I think it's a long video. You're not gonna be able to play it here.
Where is it at?
Well, I think Don Burr brought it up. Alex Rollins says the real reason why the Rams dumped Jared Goff for Matthew Stafford.
Oh, he meant Alex Rollins. Yeah, okay. I know who Alex Rollins is, but they said Alex Brown, and I've seen the Alex Rollins video. I seen, you know, I like Alex. I think Alex be doing the damn thing. So I can't argue there. Shout out to my man Steve Collins. He says Mike Ford hype train, the mustard hype train. I think gonna be better than a mustard hype train, man. Stop playing. The Hines police is looking for Luke G. Who? I don't know nothing about no police. We don't play with no police around here.
I mean, they make mustard too, don't they?
Shout out to my law enforcement. Mustard will explode in a hot trunk too. Really? I don't know. But I'll tell you, this chat, no, they be trying to get people to indict themselves. I don't know what they talking about. Look, that said, you can't find it. Hey, I caught what you did there, Jimbo G. Trust me, I got 2 kids. It's not hard to locate. Chico Bears versus Ram. Let me see. TTS video about Chicago Bears versus Rams. The video about Chicago Bears versus Rams. Let's see if I can find that.
TTS. What does TTS mean?
I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out. I really want to hear what he had to say.
I know. Now I want to figure it out too.
Well, listen, Lions King, if you're on Twitter, if you are on Instagram, shoot me the link. I would love to hear what's going on so I can find out what's popping. I'm gonna hit one more thing and then I'm gonna get out of here. I find this ironic, people, and I it's funny to me. Something strange happened not too long ago. Mike Valentia, 97.1 The Ticket, defended the Lions. Now, yes, the video is a little dated, but I found it intriguing that he even attempted to defend the Lions and share some thoughts on it. And then I want you to hear how, I want you to hear how some people don't have no brain and they really want to be controversial. So I was making so much. I'm going to let you hear what they had to say about it. Rico from 97.1 The Ticket is ridiculous. And I don't think he understands half the that he said, but it's good for conversation points. And I get it. So I'm going to give you a little snippet of it, and then we'll go from there.
So the Lions. And for as much as you want to paint it that, I hate all the local teams. No, I hate losing. It's not personal. It's just business. I want to defend the Lions on something here. And it's just, I think ESPN, I know ESPN is garbage. And by and large, they're just suffering because all their talented people leave. Anyone who can leave does. And you're left with this content farm where most of it is akin to fresh, warm manure. Well, they put out their 3-year future rankings for the NFL. I said, well, I'll be your Huckleberry. Let me click on that. That sounds interesting. A 3-year prospectus on every team in the league. Oh, okay. So I'm thinking, all right, Lions have a new GM who comes very well regarded, right? Brad Holmes had a sharp offseason, seems to have a good head on his shoulders, executed a few nice trades. They got a coach who, look, Rico and I aren't thrilled about biting kneecaps and putting on space helmets, but even this week, getting high marks from players about understanding the coach relationship player thing, right? Then you factor 2 first-round picks in the upcoming draft, 2 first-round picks in the year after, 4 over the next 2. They got an extra 3rd this year. They drafted what some people consider to be one of the 3 best players in the draft this year with Penei Sewell. Feel good about it. They're building from the trenches. I go, okay, let me start. What? That's not fair. Now, my point is, I started scrolling down this thing, and I said this to you. A successful rebuild in the NFL can happen in 2 years, but by the 3rd year, you got to make playoffs. That's how it works in the NFL. Now, this year, they're going to be garbage juice. We know this. Next year, depending on what dominoes fall or not, maybe they flirt. Maybe they go win 7 or 8 games. But by year 3, you'll be a playoff team. So I'm thinking future rankings, I think they're going to be in the playoffs in 3 years. Okay, let me start scrolling. They're not in the top 5. They're not in the top 10. I go, all right, well, maybe people aren't as high on the way this has begun as we have been. They're not in the top 15. Just keep scrolling down. They're not in the top 20. Oh, my God, they're not in the top 25, and I'm starting to get angry. And then they're not in the top 30. They have the Detroit Lions 3-year perspective, number 31 in all of football, ahead of the Houston Texans, who, if I may remind you, have no draft capital, have no head coach, have no GM, have a deranged pastor as Peter Baelish behind closed doors. Their quarterback is embroiled in a civil suit for potentially being a creepazoid. How can you compare the Detroit Lions situation in any way, shape, or form to the Houston Texans? I said up front, all the things the Lions have going for them. What do the Houston Texans have going for them outside of a better helmet? Nothing. I just thought it was lazy by ESPN. I thought.
People, you can go and check out the whole rest of that video on your own. I just want y'all to hear the part where even a hater, i.e. Mike Valenti, thought that ESPN was lazy in their writing predicting the future. I thought it's pathetic. I'm going to hit some of these questions. I seen BD Buster say he just got back from vacation. Hey, happy you got back safe and sound and you here to talk with me. It was NBC Sports, Chicago Bears versus Rams 2019. You find that at Rams house?
No, I have not found it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to find it. Jimbo G said, I seen you stuff and you said you already see. I do, but when I look at videos, I don't listen to it for what the actual message. I try to hear like what nobody else is talking about, and then I try to focus in on that. Like, did you say something that stood out that was stupid, or did you say something that I'm like, oh, that's intriguing? But if I told you I seen it, I did. Let me see. Luke, mustard explodes faster than ketchup. FYI. Oh, word. That's why I keep my mustard safe. You word? You feel me? Let me see. Any other questions? Goff better. Oh, there's a question from One Pride 40 Rams house. Is McVay really that obsessed with? Excuse me. Is McVay really obsessed with screens?
Well, that was one of the things that McVay implemented in the offense to try to quote unquote make it easier and better for Goff. And as all the other things that he tried to do to quote unquote make it easier and better for Goff, it backfired, and it actually made it harder and more difficult for Goff to play the game and made his numbers plummet. I mean, when you basically take away all deep threats, because, Sean McVay's offense doesn't need a deep threat. He's got the one offense in the NFL that doesn't need a guy to take the top off. It's amazing. He has the only offense in football that doesn't require that, or an O-line, or a running game. Yeah, the screen passes were out of necessity. But here's the deal is I can't say how many times on 3rd and long, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, we did screen passes. It was so frustrating to watch. And then we would randomly, like on 3rd and 2, we would against the Jets last year, late in the game, 3rd and 2, we threw like a freaking 45-yard pass. And then 4th and 2, we threw another 45-yard pass. Not to Cooper Kupp or Robert Woods, because that would make sense. We threw them to freaking Gerald Everett and Darrell Henderson, because, why not? It's just we're trying to win a game. He became obsessed with doing stuff like that in the name of helping Jared, and it was just more of the stuff that backfired.
Yeah, I think one of the things is when you have a coach who's afraid to say, yeah, they figured me out, that's a problem. That's a problem. Lions are on pace to make the playoffs by 2022. Well, don't tell ESPN that. don't. Valenti is still an a-hole. I agree. You're not gonna get me to fight with you on that. Let's see. I don't know. Let me ask you this, Rams house. Hold on. It says Alex Brown gave Goff props, bro. I was impressed at the Chicago versus Rams 2019. Alex Brown don't do that much. Oh, he's about that game. That was the game where they destroyed the Bears, and the Bears had like that really good defense, and it was all this and defense this, and the defense gonna do that, and he torched them. So I know what he's talking about. I know the game, but I don't know what Alex Brown said.
I think that would have been the game this season in 2020, not 2019, because they beat them 24-10 this year, and they were pretty dominant against them. Goff completed 69.7% of his passes. That was in the first 7 weeks of the season. That was the game before the Dolphins game, actually.
Predator's Kingdom says that shows how lazy ESPN is that a known hater actually called them out on their shit.
True.
Dude, like I said, I thought it was funny. Lions aren't going to have to wait 3 years. Lions are ready now. I agree. Do you? What are your thoughts on the Lions? I mean, obviously, the Lions don't play they don't play the Rams. No, they do play the Rams this year. I'm sorry.
They do play the Rams.
They do. They play them. Yeah, they play the Rams this year. What are your thoughts? Like, by the time that game comes, you think that's going to be one of them games where people going to be looking like, oh, damn, they winning something? Or is it going to be like, oh, they on the losing streak. They need this win?
Well, first of all, I spend probably on average 20-plus hours a week looking at statistics and doing film study and watching old games and watching highlights and film of players. I really love football, and I watch a lot of it and I study a lot of it. And I'm not ashamed to say here, maybe I won't say this in front of my Rams friends, but I'm not ashamed to say here that I've probably spent 90% of my offseason watching Lions film and statistical analysis. I have been basically obsessed with the Lions all offseason, as you guys probably have seen. So I've seen a lot of freaking Lions stuff, and I've done a lot of studying, and I think 8 wins is a baseline number for me. I don't see the competition. I know everyone's like, oh, the schedule. Guys, the idea of doing strength of schedule based on last year's record is nonsense. It's never like that. The team, when they do preseason strength of schedule, guess how it ends up at the end of the season, Luke?
How?
It's never the same because because everything changes in the NFL. Every season it changes. So we always go, oh, tough schedule. But guess what? Last year's hardest strength of schedule ended up being one of the easiest strength of schedule. That happens every season. There's flip-flops like that every season. So I don't buy that. I think a lot of teams they play are not going to be very good. I don't believe in the 49ers, and not just because I'm a Rams fan, because I don't believe in either of their quarterbacks. They've not shown themselves to have a solid offense, and they've lost tons of pieces on defense. They literally have one of the worst secondaries in football, and the only guy who can rush a passer is Nick Bosa. Don't get me started on that. But yeah, 8 wins is a legitimate number. I don't think people understand the concept of completeness. The NFL isn't won by the team with the most stars. The NFL is won by the team with the most complete team. Why did the Buccaneers beat the Chiefs so badly in the Super Bowl? Because they had the least amount of weaknesses. Dude, you're telling me the Buccaneers have bigger names than the Chiefs? Come on.
You ask most people, they're going to say they got Brady. That's all they need.
They got freaking.
Then you throw in Antonio Brown and Gronk, and then you throw in, man. Listen, I'm a Buck fan.
If you ask a normal person, they would tell you the 3 best offensive players on that field all belong to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Kelsey were the 3 best offensive players on the field that day. And then you ask them who the best defensive players are, they're probably going to tell you it's Chris Jones and Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu.
I love how
but names don't win the game.
I love how everybody want deep passes and stuff, but when you think about it, it's really Patrick Mahomes throwing short routes to Travis Kelsey and Tyreek Holmes, and they going a distance. But we're not gonna talk about that. Why you always lying says I can't wait to be on the show, fam. I can't wait for you to come on. Hit me up and let me know when you're on there, and we get you on. Talk some ball, man. I've been hearing that the Lions coaches believe there is more talent in camp than what the media knows. Yeah, I've been trying to tell y'all that, and I've been told that we don't have enough talent.
We've been saying that since before training camp. A lot of us have been saying, hey, you know what? Some of these guys who weren't good last year weren't good because of the coaching staff.
Exactly. Patricia. Freaking Matt Patricia. Every time I say his name, I do it so I can get my blood pressure up so I can go and work out because he takes me off that bed. Tough schedule. If we get it wins early 4-1, we could go way better. Let me see. Rams were the first team to destroy the Bears' defense. Then the league was shocked and followed the blueprint to expose their defense. Yep. Haters gonna hate. Goff is mustard, Luke. That's right. Show mustard some love. So how bad will loss of Aaron Kromer affect the Rams?
I responded in the chat, but a lot, I think. I mean, Aaron Kromer was widely respected as one of the absolute best offensive line coaches in football. And we went from, remember those great rushing offenses that Anthony Lynn had in Buffalo with those top tier O lines? Yeah, that was Kromer's work. Kromer came from Buffalo, and he's not only did we, it's not just that we got rid of Kromer, and it's not just because we got rid of him because of bad reasons. We got rid of Kromer and we replaced him with a buddy of McVay's who was last seen coaching in college and hasn't coached an offensive line at the NFL level ever. So not exactly the direction you want to head in.
Listen, that's crazy. That's crazy. It said, yeah, Patricia has no business as a head coach. All right, listen. Again, people, I want to have fun with it. And he said, and they lost Aubrey Pleasant too. Yeah, they did. They lost a lot. You listen, I always try to find ways to have fun, man, and get things going. I'll go into final thoughts because, like I said, me and Rams House got a lot of stuff planned, but we took a minor setback today because today was something different. And I know how it was going to go. If y'all didn't even like my chart and went crazy about the chart, I know how it's going to go. But you can argue with whatever you want. But 478 is not a lot of receiving yards. It's not. But it's just that he didn't have a legitimate quarterback, and if he had capped his pace, he would have had.
Oh, I'm keeping a record of that, Luke. I'm keeping a record because when I'm on Raw, if healthy finishes the season with 478, I'm gonna be in this chat. I'm gonna be chatting up with a lot of these guys.
Oh yeah, because a lot of listen. I don't mind the debate, but join me in the debate. But make it make sense though.
Well, that's the thing is debates are centered around why. Why won't Amon-Ra put up more? Why can Tyrell Williams not put up 650? Don't just say, oh, this is garbage. Well, why? What about it? You know, what's the argument? I didn't really see anything.
Listen, I totally get it. Get the people your final thoughts. Let them know what your final thoughts is, because I'm going to have you back on, especially when the Rams play them. We're going to be doing some film breakdown, looking at the two games and breaking down quarterbacks and stuff. But get the people your final thoughts, and then, you know, plug any social media, anything where they can find you, where they want to ask you questions about the Rams, because they should have 1,000 questions. You know, but I get it. Give them that plug, man.
All right, I'll put my social media on there. I mean, a lot of you guys can get a hold of me on Discord. I'm on Luke G's Discord. I'll put in my Twitter handle in the chat for everyone to see. But the final thoughts, man, I'm excited about. At the end of the day, all that we can do as fans is study the past and try to predict the future. No one knows what's going to happen in 2020. Nothing is an absolute, so we do our best to analyze and see what could happen either way, and that's part of the fun, isn't it? That's kind of what makes it exciting. So that's all we're doing is trying to predict. And I think that the negativity towards the possibility for the Lions is so overwhelming that the only logical response is to show the positive potential that the Lions have. And I think people are underrating what some of these players are going to be able to do with new coaching and new stuff. And I think people are going to be pleasantly surprised by the Lions. I mean, this is literally coming from a Rams fan. And I'm rooting for you guys to win every game besides week 7.
Jimbo G, it's crazy. He says, Amon-Ra is my boy. He was one of the picks I tried to tell Luke about, but no, he ignored me. That's not true. That's not true. I even had a whole video that they kicked me off of talking about him. I liked the Amir Marset Smith, who's on the Vikings. I thought he was a stellar pick. And I liked the Rodgers, who was on the Packers. But that's not true. But I hope the family is doing good, man. I hope you're doing good. And listen, you late or not, you was here, and you always here to support me. So I appreciate any support I get from you. You know, you're a good person. So to you, sir, I thank you. To everybody in the chat, I thank you as well who came in and rock with me. Those who disagree with me, who think I'm batshit crazy. Those who think that, oh, the numbers you put up that don't even count, that's not real. You go and give me a better chart. Shoot it to my email and let me know. We can talk about it. My guy Rams House listening while I'm at work, by the way. Shout out to you for those who work. This is what I do this for. So when you at work, you got something to listen to.
On your ride home.
Yeah, or when you're riding home. Something just to give you something to listen to. You know, some white noise. I ain't trying to upset nobody. You did. It says, I like Rams House. Keep up the good work. Let's see. He can replace Bashar with his dad. I mean, if you think about it, Bashar Perriman numbers are going to be pretty similar to his dad, and I'm waiting to see because I think his dad only had like 600 some yards. So, yeah, I mean, who's to say that that's not possible? Goff went to the Super Bowl with the okay receivers, a good run, and a defense cohesive. Why can't it happen here? That's the question I've been trying to ask everybody. Why not us? Luke, Amon-Ra strong as hell. Family good. Hope you're good, Luke. 100%, and the family's doing awesome. Iowa Lion. I love that damn name. Darn, got here too late again. Don't worry about it. This is what you do. Hit that replay because I talked about a lot of stuff and I put football in perspective in terms of production. I look at loss in terms of saying, are we losing production or intangible? And I don't think we lost any production or intangible when it came to our receiving core. And so therefore, I created that sheet so you can see it. I may even screenshot it and post it on there and let people kill it in my community comments. But yeah, just putting it out there. Let me see. At Rams House, I've been subscribed to Rams House. We're going to beat the Rams. I mean, I think they got you confused with the other Rams house.
They do.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm not the guy making YouTube videos named Rams House, but I haven't even watched his YouTube channel, to be honest with you. I used to make content on YouTube, and I used to have a website I ran called Rams House, but I stopped both those things. So right now I'm doing nothing for the time being.
Okay. Spirit of Detroit podcast, aka Avery Giovanni. Shout out to him. He says, happy to see y'all. Happy to see you here too, sir. And let me see, make sure I ain't forgetting that. All right, here's my positive quote of the day. Because I had to think about this. I heard this on the internet, and I don't know where it started from, but I liked it. It's matter of fact, yes, I do. I didn't know where it started from. It started from America's Got Talent, and a contestant said this, and it blew everybody away. This is what she told them. She said her life lessons are simple. Stop waiting until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. I'm going to repeat that again. Stop waiting until life isn't hard anymore before you decide to be happy. Y'all, when I heard her say this, I thought to myself, damn, a lot of us tend to put all these little caveats in front of everything that we want to do. You know, I'm going to eat this last donut. Then I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to one day start my own business. Yep, just as soon as I hit the lottery and the lightning strikes the bottle twice and then ricochets off and hits me. Stop putting the caveat there. Instead of putting the caveat there, and instead of waiting for life not to be hard, what about you actually just sometimes talking to the storm that you're in and pushing forward and pushing through it? You see, people often say to themselves that things need to change before I can make the next move. But what about the people who don't get the option for the thing to change and they just have to move? While you're making excuses, they're making opportunities. There are people right now competing in the Olympics that are missing limbs. They don't have any excuse. There are people right now sitting at home who don't have lights. They're not making any excuse. Why are you making excuses for you to find your happiness when happiness can be obtained if you just stop waiting? The patience you put into it is not something that needs to be given when it comes to happiness. Happiness will always find those who's willing to walk towards it and open their arms and take it. But you're too busy worried. You're too busy caught up in trying to make sure that if you just play it safe and everything passed, then I can make that move. I'm challenging you to move now. I'm challenging you to look at everything in your way, step on it, kick dirt off of it, and move forward. Find your happiness. You don't have to wait for it to get easy. Find your happiness. That's why people think a rose in the concrete is so beautiful. To survive that, it has to be nothing more than pure resilience. Find that peace, people. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed today's show. I want to thank my guest, Rams House, who I will have back on again. And as always, don't be no chump. Please do your research. I am out.